Hi everybody, Don Giannetti. We're looking at assignment number 7, fragrance bottles. And fragrance is a huge niche for photography because it's a huge niche for advertisers. Magazines, perfume is something that is marketed to people of all demographics. It's not just a high-end demographic or just a low-end demographic. It's everybody. So perfumes range in price from affordable, to damn. And because the price is so high, the pricing is so high, the photographers make more money in it. It's a very lucrative niche. It's a very specialized niche. And if you can really build your portfolio, you can almost specialize in perfume and cosmetics and bottles and things like that. It's pretty fun. We're going to take a look at some work here, some okay work and some really astounding work, and hopefully push you guys towards the astounding. So let's get going with our imagery here, shall we? First up is a very simple approach to perfume bottle. It's just the perfume bottle itself, and it's just a simple product shot on a clean background. We've got a beautiful gradient from top to bottom there that looks really nice. We've got beautiful little highlights running here on the bottle. Little thin one on this side, a bigger, fatter one on this side. Look at the leaf. Looks really great. This is a nice product shot. This isn't what I'm asking for you guys to do. I'm really not. I'm hoping we push just a little bit farther past just shooting a bottle on a background. But if your clients need it, you have to know how to be able to do this. Best way to do this is to pull your sweep way back, and then draw it up, and then the light from the sides will light the subject and the seamless around it. But as farther back that seamless goes before it curves up, it'll get less and less light, and you can get a very nice gradient that way. Here's a clever shot. A little bit of Photoshop done here, I believe, but nicely done. Nicely lit bottle. Obviously, the bottle wasn't lit here because we're kind of getting the feeling we're looking into the bottle, but we're not seeing any of this action around it through the bottle. So I'm thinking the bottle was shot on a different surface and then photoshopped into this flower. But a lovely ad and a very nice concept. Here's a concept using a woman's fingers just to give the bottle a little bit of context, so we kind of get a size relationship of this bottle. I don't know what this is that it's sitting on here, but a beautiful sort of out of focus light thing going on back here. Don't know what that is. Could be water splashing. Whatever it is, it's very pretty. And it also provides a nice bright background. You can see this bright whatever that is there going behind the bottle, which lets us see through the bottle. And you'll notice for this Gucci ad, they have pulled out the little tube that runs down in it. If you're going to do a shot for the class here and you want to get a bottle of perfume and then return it, that's all fine. Just remember, don't pull that little thing off, because you might not be able to return it, because you may not be able to get that little thing on again. I've seen that happen. I've had that happen. I thought I could take it off and put it right back. Taking it off was, fairly easy. Putting it back, not so much. But anyway, nicely done. Beautiful light all the way around, and it's great. Super shallow depth of field right on the front of the bottle, really capturing everything about the bottle that we need to capture. Shooting fragrance is about shooting design. The designer has created these shapes to be seen and to be unique, because when they're sitting on the shelf, it's a fragrance place, and most of the time the fragrances are in boxes. You're selling a smell. So without the ability to test something, or even if there's testers there, there's still myriads of smells all around you. So the liquid part, the product itself, is a little unidentifiable by anything but nose vision of it. So it's just a liquid. It's got a little dye in it. Some of it's pink, some of it's yellow, some of it's just clear, whatever. All of that's fine, but it's the bottle that pulls the eye. The bottle becomes the touch point, the meme, the icon for the perfume. And the designers who work on this stuff are paid big bucks. It may take a year to design a bottle for a new fragrance after all the testing and things that it goes through. And so capturing that design, that's our job. The designer's got a three-dimensional bottle that he or she designed, and we have to make a really beautiful photograph in 2 dimensions that shows off. This shot does a nice job with the lighting from one side, giving us all this color up in the gold, not ignoring the back side. We're getting a nice little light back there. We're getting something from the side here. We can see little poppy highlights right in there. The top is reflecting something there, but who knows what it is. I think we can see some white cards if we look very closely there. Photographers see that stuff, other people don't. Stem is left in that one, that shot. Occasionally, the perfume doesn't have a clear bottle, and we can shoot it more as just a textured bottle. What I liked about this shot is it's got all this glass behind it. It's all these shards of glass, which is kind of cool. It's kind of neat. And then the surface that it's on comes right up here and goes straight down. You see that it's cut off, and this bottle of Imari or whatever is sitting right on the edge of that, whether that's cut glass or what have you. It's going down vertical, and that's the absolute edge of it. So the photographer brought it right up to the edge. We've got a nice gradient light here, obviously a scrim. Nice gradient light, nice little pop on the top, letting it go dark against the lighter glass over here, giving it a nice feel, and making sure that we've got this gold lit up as nicely as we can. So this is getting down lower with your camera and shooting straight across at the bottom of the bottle. If you're doing it with a tilt shift, it's a little bit easier. If you're doing it without a tilt shift, you may find you have a whole lot more bottom than you have top. That's when those of you with the big crop sensor cameras, the D800s, the D810s, that's when you can essentially shoot the image in half the frame and still have an 18 megapixel image, which is plenty big. On occasion, we get to play with fire. I know we've got a couple of photographers that love to do that. Here's some fire coming off the back. Is that photoshopped? I don't know. I think that James could probably pull this off without Photoshop. Looks a little funky to me, but it's well done, and we do have the flame in the bottle, which I think is really, really important. Another really fun thing to do is to get a bunch of bottles and just do them. Now, in this particular case, the photographer has done literally nothing to the front lighting. We're seeing a little bit of this reflection of that bottle, that reflecting off the back of that bottle, that type of thing. We just put the light up in the back and shot the bottles, which makes a very interesting and fun composition. So if you want to do something like this is fine. I would say if you do something like this, try to see if you can do something with these caps, because they just go black and they look boring. It's, doesn't rate real high with me as a photograph. Concept is cool, and the bottles are kind of cool, but when the caps just go black like that, they look flat. They don't look round. Let's see if we can take it to the next level if you try something like that. This is a lovely shot here. This little funky spray of light down here. Beautiful highlights on the side of this. It's really kind of a classic in a way. The the gradient of the background is very classic. We get to see a nice highlight here. We're looking through the, or at least we feel like we're looking through this glass. Got nice highlights controlled up on the chrome, and then we've got this splash of it's almost random. It looks like electricity or something, you know. It's just kind of flashing off the bottom. I think that is the way the art director decided to feature this long, tall item, because, you know, this is the size of a page in a magazine, and this is a very tall, slender thing. How do we capture the eyeballs to see it? How do we capture that vision? Well, I think the art director decided that let's put it on something that's exploding with light, the base, and that pull us into the perfume. And of course, the darker foreground gives a nice place for the text. So, well done. Chanel is a popular fragrance, and this is a very well done shot. Very clean, super clean highlights on the side. These chrome sides, beautifully done. Clean on the top. Looking through it, we get all these colors. It's really kind of fun. Kind of a fun little shot. I don't know what it would cost to buy 3 of those Chanel perfume things, but probably as much as, I don't know, a good lens. Well, you're not going to get Charlene to come over and shoot with you. It's probably a given. Although she would be a blast to shoot with because she is so great in front of a camera. But you might be able to get a Dior bottle and create this very interesting photograph. Look at the highlights back there. It looks like car headlights or something. And you've got this on this surface with the granularity and everything. Just showing off how clean that bottle is, and the randomness of this surface is a nice contrast to the symmetry of these lines here. Well thought out. I love the little highlight around the O here, but I love this whole feeling of place. It's a product shot that doesn't look like a product shot. It looks like it was shot on the street. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. I think it was shot, you know, under controlled lighting. Look at the highlights. Beautiful, beautiful idea, and well executed. Pull something like that off, you got a portfolio piece for sure. Calvin Klein is known for simplicity in a lot of his advertising, and in this particular advertising, we have simplicity. I don't understand this. But this is the Calvin Klein perfume. I believe this is a holder for it, a stand for it. So you turn it upside down and stick it in there. Black and white, black sides, bright background, nice dark edges. Pretty good size dark edges too, don't you think? Good highlight running right down the front of it here. And we can see the controlled speculars and reflections in the cap. At the bottom. There's also a light at the top. Do you see a little shadow being cast forward? We can see a little bit of something up there. But very clever shot, and shows off the idea of that perfume being turned upside down really, really well. Perfume with a packaging behind it. We have highlights around it. Notice this big soft highlight, and then we have some fairly striking lights really popping through, and at the end of the day we do have a hard light. You see the shadow? There's a hard light coming from just over there. I don't see, maybe it's this highlight right here. I don't really see it in the cap. It may have been photoshopped out. It may just be just the angle's not catching it right, but we do have a pretty significant hard light coming this way to get that sharp shadow. We see this gradient here, and we see it back here. That could be a flagging off half the bottle or part of the bottle there to get it. We have a feeling of a little stripe of light right there. You can see it coming right up there, but it's hard enough, far enough away to give us a hard shadow. I thought it was a very well done shot, and so it gives us something to think about, something to riff off. Maybe there's a way to to do a nice soft perfume bottle with some edges and get something a little bit edgy with the shadow. Now the Calvin Klein, I thought this was really kind of a spectacular shot because of the background. That's pretty fun. Whatever these swirls are, etc. I imagine that this is shot on a surface and that the swirls and things are added in. We can see kind of a reflection of this one. We see no reflection of this one. That's why I think, this one may have been shot on black plexi to get that reverse feel to it, if that's indeed what that is. Seems to be. But this one over here has no reflection. And I thought that was a little off-putting when I first looked at it. I thought the shot really had a neat feel, but there was something wrong and something that made me feel Photoshop. And then I realized it was because this one had no reflection below it and this one seemed to have one. But anyway, give you some good ideas what you could do with backgrounds. I thought that was pretty well done. Another Calvin Klein fragrance, very pretty photograph shot with just that one little rose petal back there. Notice how the highlight on the top of this, which could be flat, easily flat, the photographers turned it just a little bit away from the strobe, so we still get the design of the cap, but we get a gradient on it rather than it just being flat this color, or if we turn it even more flat, that color. This gradient gives it gives it a nice touch, gives it a feeling of elegance, and also we can feel the brushed aluminum kind of thing to it because we don't have an immediate fall off. We have a soft fall off, so we know that this is very chrome, very shiny, because we got a distinct edge to our light reflection, and up here we have a gradient. So this is going to have some tooth to it to diffuse the light as it's struck. Background, pretty simple. Maybe shooting on a piece of black plexi with a big purple background, retouching out the edge if you even see the edge, if you can pull it up right, and then putting some light right behind it there. Pretty fun. Remember, the black plexi is going to reflect anything that's behind it. So if it's a bright purple seamless back there, that's what you're going to get here. And sometimes that line will disappear on its own. Sometimes you might have to go in and, just touch it up a little bit, but you can do a lot with it. Here's a Terry Muller, whatever, Terry Mugler. I have no idea. This fragrance was called Summer, and of course with all the greens around it, that's a marketing thing. Let's go with Summer. But I thought it was kind of cool to have all these other mirrors and little shards of glass and things to reflect this back. I thought that was pretty clever, and you can see that this is not really being lit by soft boxes. It's kind of because of all these little edges. It's kind of got more of a grid feeling to it. A little hot spot down here, a little hot spot here, a little hot spot right up here. Like multiple light sources, just like we get this idea of this multiplicity of reflections back there. It's got a kind of a different kind of cool feeling to it. Very summer, wouldn't you say? But we're going to jump from this very, lots going on shot to a very, very simple shot. Abercrombie and Fitch, tiny, slim board. You can find these sometimes at IKEA. or at Home Depot, you can find these little slim, very finished off boards. Some of them are black, some of them are white, and like 2 inches deep or 3 inches deep or 4 inches deep. You grab one of those and you've got a great surface for doing something like this because you don't have a bunch behind you and you don't have a bunch in front of you. This particular board looks like it's a little piece of glass. We got a little bit of a spray under here, a little bit of reflection, and we got a little bit of a spray on the background back here. On the bottle, got some beautiful light. Look how smooth these highlights are on the tie. Behind it, I imagine that behind it we've got a white card or something catching this top light that's coming down. The top light's only going to light the top. Notice how it's up there. Angle of incidence, angle of reflection. Nothing else on this bottle is going to really send that light towards us. So this light at the top can be more powerful than you think because it's not going to leave a footprint. We're looking across at the top. If we came up with our camera, this top might become blown out, if you follow me, because we are going to change the angle of incidence of the light, the angle of incidence of the camera. But down here, all that top light's doing is this, that little edge right there, that little edge right there, and maybe a white card behind this, lighting that white card up so we can see through it, see through the bottle. Pretty cool. Here we're looking through the bottle and actually seeing a woman's face. I would say that this is Photoshop because I really doubt that her face would be that clear behind that bottle of Chanel. But I included it because I thought it was kind of a cool concept that could be worked with, could be played with just a little more. Jimmy Choo has a lot of fragrance ads out there. Most of them feature young women. This is one that features something else. This one features just the bottle and cool light. Notice that. Got little highlights here, highlights here. We got a little highlight there. See that when you get that little specular there, that sort of tells me there's a hard light. There's maybe a grid, maybe a snoot, something to create that interesting little highlight there. That's not coming from a softbox. I look at this highlight. See how tiny that one is, how tiny that one is. Lots going on up front here on this bottle. Maybe coming across that Jimmy Choo logo or popping in over here with the glass, getting a little hot right here. But most of the light that we're seeing is really the backlight. There's something to the back giving us a bright edge here. And there's also the spray back there giving us this. And the bottle looks to me like it's right on the edge. So the bottle actually may be seeing more of that spray light back there than we think it is, leaking up into the bottle before it gets to the background. But what I really like about this shot is it seems that there are some great ideas here that could be carried over to other shots. Maybe not exactly like this, but there's a lot going on in this particular shot, and I thought maybe more could happen as well. Many times going to have to shoot these group shots. Many times going to have to shoot the group shots. It's not a bad group shot here. Nicely done, highlights on the side. Was it all done together? It sure has the nice feel of it all shot together, but I don't know. I really can't tell. These highlights look way different than the highlights on here because on this one's brighter than this one. These are kind of even right here. So I would say probably maybe a couple of them at a time, but it's been photoshopped together, bring them all together, which is a great thing to be able to do. Hopefully you can, if you're good with Photoshop, you can master that art and blend these things together. But if you're not good with Photoshop, get good with lighting because you can still create these shots beautifully in a single shot. We used to do it all the time on 8x10 with no Photoshop. So it can be done, just have to spend some time with it. This is beautifully done. Highlights up here all the way. Notice the highlight underneath this little ring goes all the way through so the ring never dies. And we got a little highlight on the top all the way up here. And then we catch that little bit of gold. And then as we start to come over here, we pick up that highlight. And as the highlight comes down, we've got a little negative card, little black card, or maybe it's the background or whatever, right on the edge to really pop that cap. Highlight, brighter, less bright, more of a gradient, kind of solid. Maybe this is a scrim on this side, maybe a softbox on that side. Beautiful highlights through here, and then that perfect spray light on the back at the exact angle to make that round oval stay pretty close to round. Pretty darn close. It's a little bit of an egg shape to it, but it's pretty close to round because so is the bottle. All the features on the bottle are round. And notice all the features on the bottle are beautifully lit. We see the logo. We see the name across the bottom. We see all these little jewels or pearls or whatever that is that's inset. Lovely shot. Last one up is one by Issey Miyake, which is I thought was kind of fun, almost like a still life approach. We've got the very gentle design, the tower design of the bottle, very unique, lit beautifully. We got a side light up there. Notice we got a bigger light down here. I would probably say we got some Photoshop going on here. That light up there and this light down here, not really the same, but I can see why the photographer did it. Let's show the roundness of the cap. Let's make sure we've got the logo in it. And then some beautifully lit pieces of still life, which looked to me as though they were shot separately. And then this dropped on here very gently, nice little reflection that tells us that this is, a surface. But notice that reflection is missing from this guy. No reflection on that guy, just a little one here. Interesting choices that art directors make, but interesting to you guys because once you see them, then you can question whether that's something you want to do in your work or not. So we've got some beautiful fragrance bottles here to look at and to riff off of, and I hope to see you guys do some amazing work here. Really put your heart into it. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.